Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris Taylor, and I'm not going to belittle today's topic by going in character. There won't be any cutaways, there's not going to be any pictures to my right, and none of the usual catchphrases that I do either. It's time to be serious. This is by far the hardest episode I've ever had to write. For about 3 days, I've just been sitting at my computer desk and staring at a blank screen, because I can talk about it just fine, but trying to explicitly say and write out exactly what's going in my head is extremely difficult. But like everything I do, it's probably easier if I just say it, so here goes. I have depression. I'm not medicated, and to be honest, I haven't even gone to a doctor to be fully diagnosed. That would just restart the vicious cycle of I'm too poor to afford rent and food, but I also really need to see a specialist and find out what's wrong with my brain, but that's going to take money away from my ability to have a roof over my head and occasionally nibble on a cookie, and now you see a small chunk of the problem that I'm facing. And before you start saying, isn't this a comedy show? This is a sad topic. I don't want to hear or watch anything like that. Well, that's actually the point, in a way. For one, this has always been an opinion show more than anything else, and it's just me spouting off my thoughts and feelings on whatever topic is bouncing around inside my head. For another, it's something that really does need to be talked about more. Mental health has a massive stigma surrounding it. Nobody wants to be around a sad person. Nobody wants to deal with negativity. It's all everything and everyone is super happy and awesome. No worries here. Look at your friends on Facebook and Instagram. The pictures that they put up, predominantly, are they frowning? Crying people who just dealt a brutal breakup to somebody or a loss in the family? Probably not. They're smiling and happy, or at least they look that way. We all put up a wall between us and everybody else so that nobody sees what's really going on inside. I can't speak for anyone else on this because the big issue with depression is that it's a chemical imbalance in the brain, and everyone's brain works differently. We all do different things to deal with what's going on, and it affects everyone in a different way. So everything from here on out, arrogant as it may sound, it's just my perspective. I described it once to an old roommate of mine with a stubbing the toe analogy. A normal person will wake up in the morning, they'll be groggy, haven't had their coffee yet, and they'll stub their toe on a chair in the room. They may get upset for a moment, probably even kick the chair and try to get it out the window, but then 30 seconds later, they're fine and they just go about their day. Me, when I wake up, I'll be groggy and I'll stub my toe and then think to myself, wow, that was dumb. I'm dumb for doing that. Why did I bother waking up at all today? The problem is, there doesn't even have to be a chair for me to stub my toe on, and those thoughts will still randomly pop into my head. I was a smoker for a while, and yeah, in a way it was to help me concentrate on writing and focus my attention on things, but that's actually not why I started. I was already in my mid-20s when I first lit up, and it was because I just didn't give a shit anymore. I was alive, I was paying rent, I was eating, but I was completely void of fucks to give. My life wasn't going anywhere, and in my mind, it just flat out didn't matter one way or another. Of course, buying cigarettes just took away even more money that I already didn't have, and then I was stressed out, so I needed to smoke more, and I was feeling even worse because I knew I was doing it to myself, and I just didn't have any kind of care one way or another. There's a quote from Robin Williams. I think the saddest people always try their hardest to make people happy because they know what it's like to feel absolutely worthless, and they don't want anyone to feel like that. He committed suicide. So did Kurt Cobain, and most recently, Chris Cornell. How many more entertainers or actors or stand-up comics, how many of them are fighting demons inside their own heads? I am incredibly lucky. I have this as an outlet. The back and forth with you guys and the ability to take whatever I have an issue with and create an episode out of it is in a lot of ways a blessing. But that's when I can function. My way of dealing with my own depression is to be productive somewhere. It could be reading a book or taking care of chores. A lot of time it's just work. I just dive headfirst into whatever my work is because if I can do that, if I can focus on something and feel accomplishment somewhere, then I feel less useless. Like I actually matter in some way. But it's not like that for everybody. Some people just shut down. push themselves away, and it's incredibly difficult for everyone involved. The people trying to help, and the people who are dealing with it in the first place. For the longest time, I wouldn't talk about it to anybody. A friend of mine said once to just pretend, to fake it. Fake happiness, fake confidence, and eventually you'll just be happy and confident. I tried that for a little while, and it worked in that particular moment, until reality would set in. I'm not a good liar, and I can't hold things back or hide things very well. And pretending to be what I wasn't, lying to myself, it didn't sit right. Didn't feel right, and in the end, it just made me feel worse. I think back to some of the parties I've gone to and some of the friends that I have, and all I can think sometimes is it would be so much better if I wasn't here, if I just went home. Now I keep thinking, who else is thinking that same thing? Who else is standing there making pointless small talk, but isn't talking about what's actually going on? And I know why, or I think I do. It goes back to what William said. They know what it's like to feel worthless. It's my problem to deal with, not theirs. We don't want to burden other people because don't they have enough issues on their own? Why would I want to add to that? At work, you can take time off if you get sick. You can take time off if you get hurt. But there's nothing in place for if your brain is reminding you of that time you said something stupid to the girl you liked in the 6th grade, and that same brain is connecting dots that have nothing to do with each other for why you're stuck in a 1-bedroom apartment eating mac and cheese for the 12th day in a row. Mental health is just as important as physical health. And yet, we shy away from what we think and how we feel. We're inching our way closer to a time when we can all be open and honest about everything, but at the same time, we're so afraid of getting turned away or for someone to say, just suck it up and deal with it, like it's nothing, because they aren't going through what we're going through right now. An alcoholic or a junkie who just got out of rehab will tell you it's a daily struggle, because it is. One of the ways that some sober people keep being sober is just to take it one day at a time. I won't drink today. And that's it. They aren't thinking tomorrow or next month or next year. They wake up and say, not today. And for some, it works. When it comes to my own depression, that's what works for me. Today I'm going to do the dishes. Today I'm going to find clips for an episode. Today I'm actually going to sit down and write an episode. Today I'm not going to have a cigarette. It doesn't work all the time. Some days I can hardly get out of bed, but I'm incredibly lucky in that I have help. My roommates are flat out amongst the best people I've ever been around, and Dan, my partner in this show, is so patient when I'm late in doing things or helps me come up with new ideas when I can't do it myself. And they listen, but most importantly, they ask. Like I said, I can't hide anything. It's written all over when something is bothering me, but some people can hide it better than others. If there's only one thing that I've learned at all in life, is that holding things in hurts far more than it helps. I talk about just about everything. If someone asks me a question, anything at all, I will answer them whether they actually wanted me to or not. But that's me, and that's how I deal with the voice in my head. Everyone is different. So please, if you yourself are going through something, if you're stuck in the pit of your own mind and you can't seem to find your way out, talk to someone. Every time a tragedy like this happens, there's a massive influx of, my door is always open from people on social media. Accept that help. Talk to them, even if it takes all day. And to those who are doing the offering, please understand that for a lot of people, they've been going through this darkness for as long as they can remember, probably their entire lives. Don't just offer an ear and a cup of coffee. Go to them. Be just a little bit more assertive. But also be patient. Don't be overbearing because that's just going to push us away. I can't speak for everybody, but for me, personally, talking helps. Sometimes talking to a stranger helps better. So in the description below, I'm going to put a few resources to help anybody out there who is going through something like this. And next week, we're going to go back to our regularly scheduled funny business. But for now, I just hope this helps somebody.